Quick loan payoff tip. Take one of your monthly payments and divide it by 12. Then add that amount to your payment each month. In a lot of cases, you can save yourself hundreds or thousands of dollars in interest and pay your loan off faster.
If you can't pay for it in cash, means you can't afford it. The best advice I got, put that credit card away, rip it up, throw it away.
Why not?
Because you're going to be broke by the time you're 40, paying all those interest rates and keep paying the minimum, and you'll never get there. And I have a 22-year-old daughter. I feel bad for her because it's tough for them to make it. Prices are way too high, incomes are not enough. It's tough to save these days.
Here is how I would invest $1,000 in 2025. Number one, I would take $600 and buy VOO, which is Vanguard's S&P 500 fund. It's 500 of the biggest companies in the world, all in one fund. Number two, I would take $300 and buy QQQM, which is the NASDAQ 100 fund, usually like high growth tech stocks, good for growing your portfolio pretty quickly. And then I would take my last $100 and I put it in a high yield savings account that has about a 4.5% interest rate. And then I would do that every single month. And I would grow a nice little nest egg. And then I've had a little bit of money on the side just for in case.
Here are 5 things I would never do with my money as a former financial advisor and portfolio manager. I'm Tyler. I'm a former financial advisor and portfolio manager, and now I make financial content for free so that you don't have to pay for it. Number 1, I still would never invest in crypto. I was taught that if there's no underlying cash flow, no physical assets, it's not a consistent store of value, it equals pure speculation based on castles in the sky. Number 2, I still would never invest directly in real estate. I know. It's a tax haven, but having more money is not the end. Spending more time doing what you love is the end. And you know what I don't love? Spending my time having to pick up phone calls from tenants. Number 3, would never give my money to someone else to manage for a percentage of my assets. When you can tell me why it's twice as hard to manage $2 million versus $1 million, I'd be happy to tell you you're 100% wrong. Number 4, I would never invest with somebody simply because they were a fiduciary. Bernie Madoff was a fiduciary. Just because we're not supposed to do something wrong doesn't mean we don't. Number 5, I would never leave my money in a high yield savings account thinking it was a long-term investment. Money does not compound, rates can drop at any time, and it's a taxable account. That 4%, post-inflation, post-taxes, it's more like 0%.
Welcome back, and today we're going to cover something a bit different. We've seen all the bad decisions that people have made. We've seen all the expenses rise and how things are becoming more and more expensive. And in the midst of that, it will be good for people to actually know some of the good advice that are also circulating on the internet in terms of how to manage the finances. So in this video, we're going to be going through most of the good advices that are being offered out there. And a lot of people, I believe that if they are to listen, actually implement it on their daily lives, it will make a significant difference. And a lot of people would go out of debt and a lot of people will increase their savings. So before we start with that, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we don't waste of your time. Let's get on with it.
Just got to my job where I manage money, and I want to show you a personal finance tool that I built for me and my partner yesterday, which is a grocery shopping list that is similar to like an inventory par list that you would find at a restaurant, but for Costco. Check this out. So here is our inventory par. There's I did this in order that we walk through the aisles at Costco. So there's toothpaste. If at home we have less than half a tube, that's the par, we buy a 4-pack. And here you can be yes. AA batteries, come all the way down. And there's a yes or a no. And then in this tab, it populates the list. Had to figure out a SQL function for that. But let me show you what I mean a little more, demonstration. So here when you see that there's nothing that we need, but then when you're yes, we do need yellow onions, the list says yellow onions. And then I texted to myself.
You are crazy if you think that the way you are going to get rich is from making the money that you have right now and just investing it in the stock market. That's insane.
Is Cody right? Let's look at the math. The stock market has returned about 10% per year to investors over the last 100 years. That means if you invest $5,000 today and leave it alone for 30 years, you'll have about $140,000. She's right. $140,000 in 30 years ain't bad, but it ain't rich. Now let's flip the script a little. Instead of investing $5,000 today, you start investing $500 per month. 10 years later, you'll have about $100,000. Most of that came from your savings. Again, Cody is right. At least early on, most of your money comes from earning and saving, not from investing. But keep it going to year 30 and you'll have over $1 million. Only $180,000 of that came from your savings. The rest, over $850,000 came from investment growth. Even though most of your early progress is made from earning and saving, don't delay, because compound growth takes time and it will absolutely make you rich. Earn more, spend less, invest the difference.
So here's 5 things that I did to help end paycheck to paycheck living, and has also helped me remain debt-free now for 11 plus years. And these 5 things really don't have too much to do with the dollars and cents of actual money, but they make a huge difference in your success in actually getting out of debt. The first one being, I had to recognize that I was the freaking problem in my financial life. I was the reason I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was the reason that I was broke. But it's really easy to take the victim mentality approach and point the finger at everybody else and everything else that's going on in the world and say, that's the reason I'm broke. But until I was willing to take responsibility for things that I could control, that's when things really started to change for me. Number 2, I really focused on creating short-term and long-term goals that were going to help me reach the life that I wanted to live. And that's key to number 3, which is breaking away from what other people think and caring about what other people think about your life and the way that you're running it. Because it's amazing to me how many people you surround yourself that will dictate how you spend your money, how you manage your money based on how they think that you should live your life. And a lot of us are just living a life that we don't really want to live, but we're only doing it to seek approval from other people. Number 4 is I focused on the small steps that I could take on a daily basis, because I began to realize, especially as I was getting out of debt, if I looked at the big picture, if I looked at the mountain of debt I had to overcome to get out of debt, it was too overwhelming. And I would self-sabotage because I would keep thinking, man, it's going to be impossible to get myself out of this situation. So instead, I focused on the small steps that I could take. And by focusing on the small steps, it makes it seem achievable. Like I could make this progress. I could pay off that little credit card. I could save up that small amount of money. And slowly but surely, those small little steps turned into giant steps over the years. And the 5th one is a big one. It kept me stuck and it keeps a lot of other people stuck. It is letting my ego go and letting go of this anchor bias that many of us have about money and personal finance. And that was probably the biggest thing to break more than anything, is just to let all of my feelings and beliefs about money, the same feelings and belief that honestly were keeping me broke, let that stuff go. Let my ego go. Tell myself I don't have it all figured out. I don't know how to do this stuff the right way. And then go out and seek out individuals who are doing it the right way and being willing to accept those ideas and implement them into my life.
In terms of finances, I've learned a lot over the years. I've made mistakes and I've also made good decisions. But the first decision that I was taught, that my dad taught me when I started working, is that you need to save. You need to save. It doesn't matter how much you save. It doesn't matter which account you save in. So in the internet, we always see a lot of advice that will tell you that if you save on this account, you're losing money over long term. You should save here, you should invest here. And what I can say is that the ideas that a lot of people share, they might not work for you. So you also need to know what works for yourself. You need to do a lot of research. What I've learned about saving is that as long as you are saving something, it doesn't matter where you are saving, whether in a high interest account or not, or whether you are saving in crypto, even though crypto is something that you have to make a lot of research because you can end up losing money. So you need to make a lot of research. But someone who has savings and someone who doesn't have savings, those are 2 different people, and you actually see when something unexpected actually happens in your life. Or maybe you just want to do something or plan for a vacation. When you don't have anything saved, you can actually feel. And when you have a savings, you know that you have something to fall back on if something is to happen. And not only when something is to happen, and also if you just want to enjoy life and enjoy your money, you know you have something. So when you're listening to all these stitches and all the advice where they're telling you invest here, don't invest here, I think the best advice that I can tell you is that do research. What works for someone else might not work for you, depending also on how much are you willing to invest per month. Do you have long-term goals? Do you have short-term goals? But the best thing you can do is that stop using credit card and pay stuff less and less with a credit card. The thing that I taught myself over the years is to pay something cash, and if I don't have cash, I just tell myself that I can't afford it. unless if it's big purchases, then we understand, such as a car or a house.
A recent study came out that 47% of Americans who make $150,000 a year to $200,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, some of you are thinking, how in the crap does that happen? If I was making $200,000, I would be fine. And it just proves the point, you guys, that so much of personal finance, it's your behavior, it's your habits. I mean, lifestyle creep, it's a real thing. When you're used to living at 100 grand and then you make 120, you get used to that, and then you get used to 140, and it keeps going up. Regardless of how much money you make, your habits really do form around your income. And so that's why you have to be so careful. So don't always have hope that just because my income goes up, I'm gonna be okay. Because the truth is, if you have bad habits and you make more money, you're just gonna make bigger and bigger mistakes.
These 12 sentences about personal finance taught me more than my $80,000 business degree. And number 12 is the most important one. Like it or not, who you choose as your spouse is a financial decision as well as an emotional one. Choose wisely. Prioritize having a 3-month emergency fund. Unexpected expenses will arise. Don't get caught with your pants down. After the emergency fund, prioritize paying off high interest debt. You're not going to outinvest a 20% interest rate that you have on a credit card. Have a budget. A good basic framework is 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings and investments. Invest your money. You will work until you die if you don't. Low-cost index funds are a good way to do this. If you borrow money for college, make sure it's for a high-paying career path so you're at least able to pay the loan back. Prioritize your health. Exercise, eat healthy. A healthy person has a million wishes. A sick person only has one. Saving $5 on coffee isn't going to make you rich. Saving money on the bigger decisions, the ones that end in zeros, like your home or your vehicle, will go much further. Live below your means. 64% of people live paycheck to paycheck, but you don't have to be one of them. Learn from the ones that did it before you. Read books, listen to podcasts. More learning, less Netflix. Automate your finances, bills, savings, investments. This is going to make your life a lot easier. Finally, trying to get rich quickly is how a lot of people end up broke.
If you're only in your 30s and 40s but already think it's too late to be rich, you're wrong. I'm Vivian, your rich BFF and your favorite Wall Street girly, and here are the 3 steps you need to take right now to fast track yourself to financial success. 1, in your 30s and 40s, you're likely past the early grunt days and you're climbing towards the peak of your earning potential. You're not some peon anymore, and I need you to ask for a minimum 15% raise every year. I know it sounds audacious, but we're playing catch up. You haven't missed the window of opportunity, but you'll need to be more aggressive than had you started earlier. 2, you need a hardcore budget. I'm not here to shame you for wanting the occasional latte, but you're gonna have to make some sacrifices if you want to eventually retire. Typically, I recommend the 50-30-20 method for budgeting, but if you can get saving and investing closer to 40% of your income by cutting down needs and wants, you'll be in much better shape. And last, open up a Roth IRA or backdoor Roth IRA if you exceed the income limits and contribute the maximum amount each year. Invest in a diversified portfolio of index funds and bonds. Here are a few great examples. Good luck, you got this.
All I can say is that it's never too late to save. You shouldn't feel a lot of pressure. All you need to know is that the moment your salary gets in, irrespective of whatever how much you need to save, you just need to allocate and know that this is how much I have in terms of paying for my bills, in terms of paying for rental, and whatever tiny bit that I need to use, whether for entertainment, then you know that this is the amount of salary that I have to circulate and to use for my monthly needs. But this is how much disposable salary I have. So you take whatever that percentage that you have. It doesn't need to be 20% or whatever that all these people are telling you. Whatever amount that you're able to spare, then you save it, and doesn't necessarily need to be for retirement, for anything. The aim of saving is that you have something in your name. It's just like how celebrities do. You always hear that the net worth of this person is how much, even if they don't have any disposable money that's actually tangible, but this is how much they have in their name. Then you know that, okay, in terms of savings, this is how much net worth that I have. So just to know that you have something in your name, I think that's something that people should keep in mind in terms of saving and not to complicate things.
Excellent question. $500 is a great place to start investing with, especially if you don't have any experience. However, do not buy a stock just because it's cheap. Always select a value asset that you actually know about and you think is going to have value long term. Don't think about its price tag. With brokers like Robinhood, you can actually purchase a fraction of a stock. That means if a stock is $3,000, you can purchase $100 worth of it and have exposure to it.
I set a really lofty goal of paying off $80,000 worth of debt in the year of 2025. So let's talk about how I'm going about paying that off. This $80,000 is spread between 4 different debts: money that I had to borrow for my divorce, my student loans, solar panels that are on my house, and my car. I am a huge follower of Dave Ramsey's baby steps. So currently that's the plan that I'm following. If you're on a debt payoff journey and you have not looked up Dave Ramsey before, you need to. So the first thing that Dave Ramsey tells you to do is to save $1,000 emergency fund and then pay off your debt as quickly as you can with your debts from smallest to largest. So my debts in order from smallest to largest is my divorce, my student loans, my solar panel, and then my car. Even though my car has the highest interest rate on it, it is going to be the last debt I pay off because it is the biggest amount. So even though it might make more financial sense to pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first, we as humans like instant gratification. So I have chosen to follow Dave's advice and do the snowball debt payoff method. Pay off my debts smallest to largest regardless of interest rate so I can see quick, fast wins, and it's been working for me so far.
Let's talk about how I organize my money as a financially responsible 26-year-old. Now, I have 6 accounts that I hold my money in. 2 of them are the same. I have 2 checkings accounts. Now we're going to start with that, okay? I have one with Chase and one with Capital One. I solely use checking accounts for the money that I need to pay bills and pay things that are in the next 2 weeks or a month or so. So I will never carry more than I need in a checking account. The second account that I have is a high yield savings account. Now I hold different types of money here. So I will hold my emergency fund here. I have my fund for my future home. And then I also have my emergency fund for my pets. This is where I do hold all of that just because they do pay me back interest for the money that I keep in there. The interest that I'm getting right now is 5%, I believe, and I bank with CIT Bank. They are amazing. I do get a higher interest because I do have their platinum savings, and their platinum savings, I think you have to put more than 5,000 or 10,000 in there to be able to get the 5% interest. But if you don't have that much, don't worry, you still get a really good interest rate, and it's still a really good bank to bank with. So
yeah, I think there's some really good advice that is being offered here. And in terms of opening many accounts, I also have more than one account. So what I do is that I know that in this account, this is how much that I'm able to contribute every month. So I already know that for this one, this is how much I contribute, and this is for rental. This is where the debit order for rental is gonna go off. Then I know that for this one, this is how much I put, and I know that, okay, if in terms of food and entertainment, I put it on this account, I know that if I'm going out, this is the card that I'm gonna use, and I know if it's finished, I know that I have finished that money. I no longer have any money to spend. It kind of like gives you a bit of discipline, irrespective of how much money you have, irrespective of how much money you have in the savings. When you have smaller accounts and you know that for this one, this is how much I have, it gives you that thing of you don't have as much money than you actually have. It actually teaches you discipline, that irrespective of how much you earn, but this is how much that you should be able to spend. Yeah, obviously some months can be different and vary from time to time, to a point that maybe you might need to dip into your savings to be able to supplement for the rest of the month. But the point is that it teaches you that you don't always have to see a lot of money that's in your account. Obviously, if you have big savings, you can see it, but it's not like something that you can always go and check necessarily. But on a day-to-day, let's say you're about to pay a bill, so it's kind of a good practice that I think a lot of people can use. And also in terms of safety, these days it's not safe. A lot of accounts get hacked, and if one of your account gets hacked and all your money is there, then all your money is gone. Whereas if you have distributed it into many accounts, then it's a bit better. You know that if something is to happen in this account, you can always go to the account. Yeah, and that's all that I have in store for you in terms of good advice that's being offered in terms of money management and saving. And if you enjoy this type of content, forget to like and subscribe. And also, if you have more advice that you can offer, feel free to let it all out and share with people in the comments below. We are all about helping each other here. We are all about growth and being financially responsible in this channel. And as always, I'll see you same time, same place. Bye.